Dev Dad, g'day. It's a real privilege to give you some feedback here on Embtr. Um, yeah, I know you requested mobile app feedback more than anything, but we'll start with the landing page and then we'll work our way through. So I think I have some pre-context as to what Embtr is through watching your stream. But I'll try and place that outside of myself for a moment and progress through this as if I was someone who didn't have a lot of context. So Embtr, a community achieving their wildest dreams together. Okay. A dream, plan your dreams. Embtr helps see near and far, map out your life dreams and start to build them brick by brick by planning your day-to-day moves around these life goals. And I have a screenshot here. I can see Happy Tuesday, how long is remaining in the day, the quote of the day, today's tasks, and a photo. Win together. You are who you surround yourself with. There's a whole community of people just like you, people looking to break through life's mythical barriers and achieve everything they've dreamed of. Let's do this together. So I see someone making a post here. I see people leaving comments with kind of a like system. Keep swimming. Great to have you here. Stay hard. Yeah, okay. Some social features. Respect, level up. Progress through Embtr ranking system as you chip away at your dreams. Got it. So here's a profile. Followers, following, activity, today, pillars. Can see here Monday is complete 100%. Try our app, beta access. Embtr is available for beta testing for both iOS and Android. Please consider downloading the app and testing out the excitement we've been working on to help you achieve your wildest dreams. iOS download, Android download, mailing list, and then updates. Bit of a changelog type situation. Into the roadmap, connect with us on socials. Cool. Yeah, so I think there's, again, apologies because I think you requested feedback on the app, but I think there's probably a lot of easy wins, low hanging fruit we could apply here to bring a lot more people through from this page to actually downloading the app or using it through a better kind of description and set of like value propositions. So improving the conversion rate here of getting people to actually download your apps is going to allow you to get more downloads and users and therefore more feedback and be able to iterate more confidently and quicker. So it's an important part of the overall process. I think a lot of this speaks to something quite intangible and abstract. And I think we really want to flip that on its head and be much more direct and speak to the problems folks face and what the value proposition is here and how those two align. So I think there's a lot we could do here with the copy, and maybe I'll do a little bit of an exercise at the end to think about how we might communicate that differently. But I won't get too caught up here because I know that you want some feedback more than anything on the app. So let's have a look over there. So I'm going to worry more about the iOS app here, just because that's what I'll be testing on. But again, we'll consider this as like an intermediary step in that kind of funnel. So folks might come over here and better achieve your wildest dreams together, better together when wins and struggles, we're in it together. Share your journey, show off what it takes to be you, build your routine, perfection through planned repetition, and manage your day, focus on the now to win in the future. Embtr is community building habits to achieve the wildest dreams together. It's an app designed to help you plan your habits, stick to them, and use the results to achieve your wildest dreams. Inside, you'll find a community of people just like you, people looking to achieve more. Planning and social accountability are the two pillars of the app. We believe that everything must be intentional. In order to succeed in your personal goals, you must have a plan. This plan allows you to move each day with intent. Facing mental fatigue, join the club. When you're pushing your limits and working towards growth, this is a normal part of the process. In these moments, we leverage social accountability to keep you from fighting this battle alone. Work together, chat it out, get back to being the best version of yourself. Ready to chase those dreams, come on in, we're ready for you. So straight away, I think the way this is written is much more direct than some of the things spoken to on the app. And I imagine that's because you to be fair, probably built this a while back and wrote this out a while back. And then, at a point now where you have a much better idea of the value and who you're talking to and whatnot. So it stands to reason that doing this further down the track would be a lot better. But straight away, the style and directness here is a big improvement over the abstractness of this copy. But in any case, we'll continue on. So I've downloaded the app. I'll pull it up here on Lonely Screen and get that sharing. Let's have a look. So I haven't downloaded it before, by the way, so it's gonna be my first impressions. Yeah. Embtr, a community achieving their wildest dreams together. So we're gonna sign in with Google, I think. In fact, we'll do it with Apple. Okay. What do we got here? Welcome to Embtr. We're so glad that you're here. Before we start, tell us a little bit about yourself. So username, I put in the Coppinger. What? Uh-oh, I'm making this difficult. Display name, Charlie Coppinger. I guess I can hit that, I assume, and let's be careful here. Let's not go something too weird. Please hold. I've got a photo of me that is somewhat respectable. Yeah, okay. I got a good one of me cycling home the other day. There it is. Yeah. All right, so starting on this page, I guess this is somewhat of an onboarding flow. I'm not sure if there's going to be anything beyond this, but yeah, I mean, breaking things up can be really good. I mean, it's not as if there's a lot to enter here, but just as a general principle, breaking things up is a pretty great way of just reducing the perceived cognitive load, or rather the perceived effort required and the cognitive load. So maybe it's first, let's grab your handle. Next, let's grab your next step, your username, rather your display name, and then maybe a bit of a bio. I think it wasn't super clear that I could tap this guy over here to upload an image. And again, it might be worth breaking that out to another step. So you have to agree to the privacy policy there. And this, I suppose, is the bio. What makes you you? So I think these kind of open prompts as well are pretty high cognitive load. Like how much should I be putting here? What should I really be saying? All that kind of thing. So I think, yeah, I would definitely break this out to one of the more final steps. And I would have a descriptor to help guide them through what they might consider putting here, and perhaps a character count too, a limit. 256 characters or so, like in a few short words, what is important to you, or what have you. And even an example could be helpful too. Yeah, I like doing it live over on Twitch, or rather, I like building and shipping things live over on Twitch. That's great, but let's go. Okay, so this has landed me on today. So at the bottom there, I can see 4 options in the navigation. It's pretty standard. Happy Sunday, February 18th. See how long I have remaining in the day. Yeah, quote of the day, do or not, do not, there is no try, Yoda, fuck yeah. You can see someone's added that. That's cool. The little social element there of being able to like that, I think is pretty neat. I'm assuming that's like a thing we can all like and everyone could see that. That's a really nice sense of, the community and other folks being here. I think that really nicely reinforces that sense of like, hey, look, this is a community thing, and there's others going through the same challenges and trying to, improve themselves and whatnot, like you are. That's cool. Today's tasks, so we've got hide complete with a double tick arrow on the right there. That's slightly confusing. I think any action that deviates from a super standard one can quickly become high cognitive load. because it's not, yeah, it just like falls out of something we can passively grok. I guess this is, if I had a bunch of tasks there, I'd be able to toggle that to hide the stuff that I have already completed. But yeah, no habits planned for today. Let's change that. So it looks like an empty state with a prompt to add something. Okay, so habit categories. My habits, view and manage all of your scheduled habits. Custom habits, create and manage all your custom habits here. Recent habits, physical health, mindfulness, productivity, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'll check some out and then I'll share my thoughts on this. So essentially we have a preset bunch of habits here, categorized in different ways. And then at the top, we have the ability to look at our custom ones. I'm not quite sure what the distinction is between my habits. I suppose that's ones I've already selected. So it's kind of like three different things going on here. We have a preset list of habits we could easily select from, and then start one of those as a recurring habit. We have our list of habits of stuff we've already started, which we could check. But for now, it's going to be empty because we haven't started any yet. So it doesn't want to be on this list and in this particular flow, like onboarding, because it's always going to be empty. Custom habits, I guess there's a flow there, which is valid if we want to add something custom. But it's a much higher cognitive load to do that than it is to select from a preset one. And I guess there's the greater context of trying to get someone to the aha moment here. Like if we can get someone from website to the app page, downloading the app, signing in, setting up their profile, we probably want them to, as quickly as possible, get a habit in, likely from a preset list, just something that resonates with them. And we can figure that out quite quickly, either from data, or we can even just, in lieu of having a big sample size to go off from current users, we could probably hypothesize pretty quickly what's a relatively universal habit, or like a small set of like the most common habits that someone's likely to want to, use to quickly get one on the board here. And then once they have one in, they're going to get a sense for how this works, and getting close to that aha moment where it's like, cool, I can track my habit here, and there's this social element, and I can get this momentum building and have the social accountability. And like it's past kind of this aha point that your retention will skyrocket. If there's that fit there and someone actually gets that notch on the belt, they're going to think, though they're much more likely to keep coming back and be retained and become like a frequent user. So I'll do that real quick. I'll have a look here. What's a habit? Get 8 hours of sleep. It's a pretty good one for me. Description: embark on a nightly journey to dreamland for a well-rested you. Repeating schedule. I mean, pretty much every day. So I might have to select these. Start date, end date, forever. Particular time of day. I suppose that's like a nighttime thing. Details, how many, one of what, Okay. So let's think about this. We have, within this preset one, just to go through it all, we have our icon that's been set up here, which I'd imagine we might be able to change, but it's not from here. Maybe that's just when we're setting one up. We have the title, which I could edit. We have the description. Yeah, repeating schedule. So this is, for me to select which days I'm going to be prompted to do this thing. Naturally having something that's going to allow me to quickly toggle all, as opposed to me having to tap 7 times, is going to be a quick win. I'd have another preset probably for weekdays and or weekends. And those are probably the 3 like most common ones. Either I want to do this every day, or on the weekends or the weekdays, or some other variation which I could select manually. Start date, relatively straightforward. End date, there's a probably, and I'm not being kind of pedantic here, but there's probably a better word than forever for this. I kind of wonder right now what Google Calendar tells you what is it that Google Calendar would say? I forget what the term is. Just repeating. Event. In any case, yeah, I think forever sounds kind of intense, but end date just could be just ongoing or something like that. Time of day, I don't have it kind of made me pause there because I didn't have a great sense of how this then affects how it's going to show up in my habit tracking area or like that homepage perhaps that I was on. Um, like I'm not sure of the relevance of this just yet. But I guess it is relatively straightforward, but it's just, again, it's not a pattern that I'm used to. So, um, yeah, I don't quite understand the requirement of the value then. Um, and yeah, details hidden away down here. How many? I guess this is an artifact of needing to handle a disparate range of habits, and some might need you to specify, or it would be helpful to specify how many, but it adds quite a lot of overhead here because it just doesn't make sense. Maybe this is something you could abstract away to when you're creating the habit, so that certainly with like a preset one like this, that just isn't going to show up. So I'm not going to have to think about it or be confused. And of what I think, again, just like the verbiage here, like of what should this should the label should specify a title like unit of measurement or yeah, unit of measurement, something like that, something much more literal than of what. Um, yeah, yeah. Okay, so we'll go ahead and create that. There's a little bit of disparity there between at the top saying schedule habit and the bottom saying create. Um, and a little bit of an overall kind of disconnect there. Like, am I creating a habit or the habit's already created on and I'm scheduling it? It's kind of might sound a little bit like semantics, but um, the more we can keep things consistent, the less, yeah, confusion or risk creating. Okay, so I've added this task and I can now see, yeah, so it's grouped. I imagine, I mean, I only see one example here, but it would be grouped in order of the time of day. And for night, I've got 8 hours of sleep as a habit. Goal 1, I think, i.e. once a day. Completed 0 today. Yeah, cool. So let me try and add another one perhaps. Yeah, there's no clear way for me to do that right now. There is like one plus or create on this thing, which is for the quotes. Um, but maybe I tap the logo here. My habits, add post, add habit. So I think hiding it behind the logo, yeah, it is definitely a tricky one. It's just not clear that's exactly where I would go to create a new thing. I think really if that's going to serve as the place where we can create new things, it should just be a plus to communicate that super clearly. Yeah, anyhow, so so I've got 3 options here: my habits, add post, and add habit. And I guess, yeah, that's taking me to this page. Is that different to that guy there? So if I navigate away and go my habits, yeah, not quite sure what that's doing because it wasn't. Oh, now it is pulling something up here, but I don't have any habits. I guess that's if I had created some custom ones. So here I can see the preset habit I've added, scheduled, but it's not showing up in my habits because I didn't create it as a custom habit, I think. Um, anyway, we'll check out the add habit flow. So again, this takes us back to here. Let's have a look at my habits. So I don't have any, which is confusing because I thought that's what I was just adding here as a preset one. We'll try and create a habit from, okay, we can't do it from there. Custom habits, create a new custom habit. What do we call this? Do it live. I'm aiming to stream every day Um, okay, repeating schedule. Start date forever. Because that should probably just default to today. Um, time of day kind of starts in the morning. Can we select multiple here? Morning and afternoon details. How many? Yeah, I'm not gonna. I could specify like how many hours I want to do. I guess there, but stream some amount every day to go live every day. Okay, so I can create that. I wanted to change the icon, but okay, so here we have it. Do it live in the afternoon as well. Um, cool. Okay, so if I wanted to mark this as done, I would toggle it there. I think that's missing a really key part of the satisfaction of completing something. Yeah, I can see the complexity of needing to handle like different amounts for goals, and therefore why this is got an incrementer here. But yeah, I think just the psychology and that action of like swiping it to the right or ticking a box or something is it's a lot less gratifying if it's opening a modal and then increasing a counter and then hitting update. What do we got here? Remove, edit, skip, complete. Okay, so I could have gone complete there, and I imagine it would have done the same thing. Complete. There it is. I'll just check that here. If we put that up, I guess it does the same thing. Update. Okay, there it is. So yeah, yeah, I think there's probably like other ways that could be explored to handle that completion of a task. Yeah, things that spring to mind are like being able to swipe it to the right, or check a box or something, and having like some nice feedback around that. Um, Granted, you still want to be able to handle different cases. So maybe like swiping to the left would allow you to edit things, or perhaps a cog on the left, something to that effect. But yeah, I think refactoring that action and the feedback you get from it to be really satisfying would be a really key part of this whole kind of habit completion, task completion flow, and something people would probably tend to expect. Um, yeah, so let me look at my habits now that we've actually added one in there. I still can't see them there. I'm not sure if that's intentional. I suspect it might actually just be a little bit broken at the minute. So we'll move on from there. So here we have a timeline. So I guess this is the social timeline. Uh, yeah, what do we got here? I can see when someone posted something today in the top right. And the tag, it's a daily update. So this is Delta from Minnesota. Great job today. Stretched 15 minutes. Streamed code development 4 hours. Love it. So I can like that. I can I could comment here. I could say stretching for 15 minutes is no small feat. Nice one, Delta. Maybe what? Maybe I'll start a stretching habit or habit two. I think, yeah, this input being on a single line, um, yeah, we just want to break that out into a multi-line thing that's going to expand vertically as opposed to continuing horizontally. Yeah, I can hit send there. There it is. My comment pops up. Wicked. Big up Akira on here as well. Dev Dead, let's go. It was a short but intense run, let me tell you. I phone free family time, programming better, hydrate, go for a run. Phone free family time, hydrate, date night, amazing. Dev Dead, you are a king. Cool. Yeah, I guess Obviously, that input that we mentioned would be a big improvement here. What is this 4 dots in the corner there doing? I'm not sure that's advanced options, report post. Got it. I think if we only have one option, we might want to, for now, instead of hiding it behind a dot 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 to see the context and make the action, we could just have it there, like a little report icon or something like that. Or maybe put it on the actual post itself would probably be a relatively established pattern. But yeah, I think these could obviously get pretty long pretty quick. So maybe if it goes above a certain amount, we'd click to expand after like 5 or something like that. Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can make a post ourselves. So we'll go add post. Something on my mind. I shipped. Just shamelessly self-promoting. I have spent a good 10 to 12 hours a day over the last 11 days working on a simple web app called RoastMyUX. This is very meta. And I'm super stoked to have shipped it yesterday. Photos, we could add a photo there. Yeah. Is to doing the next one in half time. Here's to shipping. Okay, submit. What happens here? There it is. Cool. Charlie Hoppinger from Earth. Very good. What happens if we tap this guy up here? User search. Got it. Yeah, I think, something like that as well. If I'm running it assuming that, you're in the beta now and it's still like a relatively small user base, it could be really handy to just, pause this user search stuff and just for now, just have a list of users. I think it might help aid the sense of like who's here and that community and that familiarity with other folks. Because user search, I imagine, could be useful past a certain amount of users. But for now, I think it could just be a simple list of users rendered here. I'm not quite sure exactly how many you have, so maybe that's not a great call. But even having user search, but then just listing users below, maybe like the most active users or something like that, that could be a good middle ground. So notifications, I imagine, would show up here. Yeah, so what do we got? This is our today page, and this is our planning page. So this is where we can look ahead or back and see what we have coming up. Cool. What's this little guy? Is it a little sun taking us to today? So we probably want to label that. It can't hurt to label things. Yep, to be super clear as to where we're going. Habits for, so we have this ability to scroll through the months here. That's cool. I'm just trying to think. The value here, I suppose, maybe it's more clear if you're a power user. But I'm, as a new user, yeah, just trying to think like how. I mean, I probably just personally, I'm not someone who's historically spent a lot of time planning out future seasons of like areas of my life I wanted to work on or habits for different months and that kind of thing. So I'm probably actually not able to see the value here super well, but that's probably a me thing more than an app thing. But this does feel like more of a advanced kind of feature set for becoming really diligent with planning things out into the future. That I imagine, just to bring this back to the context of what I was describing before about these kind of aha moments. Maybe this is like a nth degree aha moment, like after using this app for like a month or so, or on average 2 to 4 weeks, reaching the point where like, do you know what? I actually see a value now and would get a lot out of this feature of planning that far ahead. And then here we've got a streak, and this is my little profile. the Coppinger on Earth. I like building and shipping things, daily history, current streak. Um, yeah, there's something to be said here about streaks. I think streaks are a really powerful way of gamifying usage or certainly incentivizing it. Although I have a lot of opinions on whether or not it's the best thing to do. I think the calculation is that you get a really strong bonus to people using your app to begin with, like rather a new user coming to your app. There's a much greater chance they're going to keep using the app because they want to protect and increase that streak. It feels good. But it becomes a double-edged sword because at some point they break that streak and they no longer have that incentive. In fact, feel really bad for having broken it. It's very demotivating. Where I land on this is I was just trying to think when I was building kind of a little social app last year. We did a lot of thinking about how to best handle this. And there's a somewhat of an ethical argument as well around like not engineering too much stress around something like a streak because it can, make people feel. I suppose in the context of like improving their lives and sticking to their goals, it's really quite helpful, but it can create this really intense and perhaps at times overly intense sense of pressure of needing to return to the app and do the thing. But yeah, I think where I landed when I was looking at doing, I'll quickly show you, in fact, because I should be able to pull it up in Figma. So Bookstop was like an ADHD app that my friend Brett and I were working on. And I'll show you how we handle it here. So this is how I designed, this is going to look quite confusing, but you see, you would basically have, for us, it was kind of, you were trying to hit a certain adherence to how long you thought you'd be able to get through your routines in. So you'd have this percent as an abstraction of how long it took you to do your things as kind of like a cumulative percentage of your adherence. And if it was above 90%, it might be this little gold coin, about 80 silver, 70 bronze. So there's a few things going on here in terms of thinking of the behavioral psychology side of it. One is that even if you're not having a great day, you can still keep up. You can still feel like you've done at least the minimal thing, which is a much healthier thing oftentimes than a binary sense of like, did you nail it or not? So that was kind of one thing to factor in. Do you know what? It's better that we encourage people with like a tiered set of coins. At least they're getting something, even if they don't like absolutely smash it out the park. And then also that was what became, I think, a healthier way of handling that kind of streak effect, because that way it's not as potent perhaps as how you really want to protect your streak and you really want to get your streak going, but it's still giving you somewhat a similar of a sense. But it's just not coming at that cost of later on of if you miss it and your streak's broken, you're really demotivated. So instead you're kind of like collecting coins over time. I'm not sure actually designed, but yeah, like, even this visual system is showing you a streak without it being too focused on a streak itself. So yeah, that's just a thought there as to like different ways you can handle like streak mechanics that I think, yeah, can not only produce a better like behavioral outcome for the person, but also not come at. I see it like you're drinking from the devil's well. Streaks really great at the beginning, but you're going to see a higher order issue later on when streaks break and people are really demotivated. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Yeah, user posts. I got my post down there. Daily results, no active daily results. Yeah. Yeah. So I think, massive props to you, David. This is an exceptional body of work. Um, and, super excited for you to be able to get the beta and whatnot. I know you've been working relentlessly on this. I think, yeah, there's a lot of like low hanging fruit stuff here to make things much simpler. I think if I had to prioritize the stuff I've talked about, I think, yeah, just keeping in mind that mental model that I've been trying to talk to, which is that kind of Oh, that kind of user journey of the aha moments. Like, what are these moments we can try and predict that are going to be really pivotal in getting a user interested and then having them um, be retained over time? And it's probably things like getting that um, first habit on there, and then I don't know, like having some kind of community interactions. Just kind of firing off the hip here, but um, yeah, it's be worth doing a thought exercise around that and just tracking it over time and seeing how it shifts and changes. Um, but yeah, we then I guess we talked about the funnel. So we're directing folks towards, I suppose, top of funnel here being the landing page. Um, we're then trying to get them to the app store, either on their phone or what have you. We then want them to download, and then we want them to log in and set up the profile, and then get to the first habit. And I think this here represents like your onboarding to step, and there's some ways we could break out that onboarding sequence and help really guide them to make it less less intensive, less perceived effort, all that kind of thing. That's just going to increase this very key part of that conversion rate. There's things a little bit higher up here as well we could do. So the landing page, as I described, I think there's like a totally different way you could describe the value in a much more direct way that would lead to a lot more people actually downloading it, being interested to check it out. There's also things like I know there's a lot of providers that'll do this in a easy way nowadays, but being able to put in your phone number, and that way you'll get a text with the app download link, so that if you're on your desktop and you're checking out about the app, that intermediate step of like viewing the app store and then having to pull it up on your phone, that can just be a lot smoother. Yeah. What else we got? Sorry, the app store. I think, yeah. I think tidying up. Oh, there's actually another really important thing I wanted to lens in on. That one screen there, it's a really pivotal one. I'll just make sure this is sharing. Okay, this add habit screen, which you showed the user when they had an empty state. I logged in. I could see I landed on the first day, and then I clicked let's change that, I think, on the empty state, and this popped up. Yeah, my habit wouldn't exist yet, and it still isn't populating. Maybe it's just broken, but I think if that is going to be empty 100% of the time in that flow, we hide that. Like, we don't necessarily want to change this too much. I think there is room for improvement in different areas, which I'll go into. But even if we just have a conditional rendering of this based on whether or not it's their first time, like whether they're arriving at it from that empty state link, because we would really want to hone in that. And I think we'd probably want to do something like I was describing as I was going through it. Instead of this, let me take a screenshot of it. Okay. Instead of this, I think immediately we probably want to get rid of, we're going to refactor how we do this. Recent habits, you wouldn't have any yet. It's your first time. And I think we'd break these out. Yeah, so instead of having like the high level category view, we would show them a list of stuff, like individual habits, again, prioritized or sorted by the popularity. We just want them to find something very quickly that they're going to, I don't know if this would want to do this in this particular fashion, but we have like an icon, the name of the habit. yeah, even that, like dropping the descriptors. I don't know if we actually have descriptors there, but we go into physical health. We do. I think we can remove those. We could just reduce the amount of text displaying here. We just need the title more than anything. It's not super important that we have a descriptor for like what it means to go out for a run or try a new workout routine or eat a healthy meal, etc. Um, and I think we could do this with some checkboxes too. And the prompt could be like select, you know, select a few select habits. Got a fruit fly there. So we can guide them here. You know, like want to select a few habits to get started. And then we have this list of like popular ones here. And then I think what we could do float at the bottom is that action, which is like, or create a custom habit. And in fact, we don't even need to hide this behind a button. You know, we could just have like, we'll create a custom and it's got a text input, you know? So or create your own um, uh, and so they can just enter one here, hit enter, and it'll pop up. And maybe we can expand out the details later. But I'd even question like the depth of those details. Like it just doesn't seem that pertinent to again get like a descriptor, for instance. It could be useful, but I think it should be really like it should be designed around not requiring that and not necessarily displaying that either. I think like if you were someone who wanted to add a description to every habit they're adding, like it's to yourself. Um, we have the benefit. Well, yeah, I suppose there's a social element here, but like the vast majority of the time, it's like it's you interacting with that habit. It could be useful for context, you know, displaying in social parts of the app, but we just want to make it as easy as possible and as low cognitive load as possible to create a habit if we want a custom one. Um, yeah. Uh, yeah. We could even, I mean, if we wanted to have the ability to introduce some categorization here, we could just put some uh, toggles at the top, you know, like a filter, a set of toggles, um, like so, that they can scroll through, visually see that, you know, goes off the page there. Um, yeah. So I think, yeah, increasing the chance or the conversion rate of getting them to go through this entire funnel, not just from the landing page to the App Store, but then also downloading it, making it easier there with things like SMS or what have you. Download it, log in, like breaking out that onboarding flow, and then refactoring this really key part of it so that getting that first habit on the board is it's much easier to get to that initial aha of like, okay, here's my habit, like it's on there. Yeah, and I think the other really key thing I covered was just rethinking this flow of marking something as done that just wants to feel good, that wants to squeeze as much dopamine out of my brain as possible. If we think about this in like a tactile, physical, real world sense, it's really satisfying. And I think this is pretty universal to write something on a list and cross it off. Like that action of crossing it off feels great. There's undoubtedly some fun neurochemicals being released in the background there. So yeah, just thinking of ways of mapping some feedback, an action and some feedback here, so that it's much more exciting. I mean, I'd even go as far to throw a bunch of like confetti and shit. You know, I think you can't really go too wrong. If you want a good example of what was it? I think Asana did a really good job at this. There's an Asana interaction, task completion. Uh, Do you know, like they had a lot of fun with like doing those little unicorns and that kind of thing. But yeah, the point being, let's eke out as much dopamine from that toothpaste tube as we can. Uh, yeah. Okay, I think that's probably where I'm at. I mean, I think the other side of it would just be um there's like certain design principles we could adhere to um better, or we could like the overall like design style. But I think that's probably the less pertinent thing, especially with the stage that you're at of like getting your beta version out and getting users testing. Like I think that calculation tends to be quite binary given the context of what stage you're at, which is more like, does it look fucking awful visually, or does it look good enough? And I think you're quite far past the good enough. Um, you haven't committed any like absolute design fundamental sins that are worth, spending a lot of time worrying about the style versus like the flow and some like key parts of this funnel and the user experience there. Um, yeah, let's have a look. Notification. Hey, there it is. Commented on my post. Hey, bless you. Okay, so there it is. I think that's my feedback. Yeah, I mean, let me just top that all off by saying you're fucking amazing. I'm such a huge fan of you as a human and your work. Thanks very much for the chance to give you some feedback on this. Hopefully, there's something of value in there. Um, yeah, keep it up. Um, you're a legend. Alrighty, catch you soon.